Hello everybody, Travis here for Tpull's Corner, and we're doing something we do on occasion. Whenever Wizards of the Coast does their Into the Future on Midweek Magic, we try it out. And we've got 5 different decks, and what happened is the Strixhaven cards came out recently, and just a day or two ago, the Alchemy Strixhaven cards came out. So the designers have made their own homebrew type stuff of Alchemy Strixhaven cards littered in here. And they've given us 5 choices, and I'm going to go ahead and do a battle real quick with X marks the spot, and then we'll show you the deck. I've been going up against Spellstorm like every time except once, and I did beat the Spellstorm's deck once so far when they got tired of fighting me and left. They gave up. But I haven't just won by getting them to 0 or getting an overwhelming advantage. I haven't gotten to that point yet. Alright, we're going to do our setup in our little normal anal retentive way. We're going to put a forest, we're going to put the dual land in the middle, and then we're going to have the blue on the right, so our colors are all separated, just because it looks nice. This is an Alchemy card, Scalar Scholar. Say that 3 times fast. 2/2 Salamander Wizard with increment, so whenever we cast a spell, we get a +1/+1 counter if the amount of the mana we spent is greater than the creature's power or toughness. So I don't think there's anything that gives anything other than +1/+1 counters. There's not like a +0/+1 or a +1/+0 in this particular set or in this particular environment. So it's always going to be the same number. And here they're already bigger than us and with flashback. Let's see. Let's do this. I don't want to draw cards. Let's just do a second Scholar. Each card you own with X in its mana cost perpetually gains this phrase. The spell costs 1 less to cast. Glorifying Verse, they can just get a whole bunch of extra copies of that. And look, they're already bigger than us again on turn 3. Oh, nice. That's an enchantment, not an artifact, so Variable Solutions, another alchemy spell, doesn't do any good with making them sacrifice an artifact of their choice. But we do have an X spell, and it's 2 cheaper, so we can basically make the X whatever we have for mana. So let's go ahead and make it 4. We do get to increment our creatures. And we get to draw some stuff. And we get to put a creature down there. And we can go get another land. I'm not sure how great this was because most of what we drew was lands. And we're half dead. Do we have to chump block here? At this point? I kind of think we do. Look at all that. Yeah, against the 10-10, we are chump blocking. Okay, can we do anything here at all? we can cast this. This will give us a land. They don't have any artifacts to sacrifice. We get a random creature. I mean, I guess we could try. The other choice is just drawing cards. So we get 2 less. So we've got 5 lands. So this can be 6. And the only reason it matters is the random creature we get is going to be bigger. All right. We've got enough if they get back up to 10-10. We can block there. If they get up to 12-12, we can block with all 3 of our creatures. Yeah, they're going to give her double strike, aren't they? They give the bird double strike, and then they're just going to fly over my head with the double strike bird. They're not even going to bother attacking with the Square Mage. This is one of the other weaknesses of this green-blue deck is there's almost no flyers in the deck. Everybody else, they get flyers. Look what happens to us. We're dead. And we didn't even face the most common deck. This is a tragedy because this is the state of Magic. Let me explain. This is the most interesting deck out of all 5 of these. This is the deck that almost everybody is playing. The opponent played Exalted Repartee this time. When we're looking at Never Dead for Long, this is one that deals mostly with getting into the graveyard. It's got some removal, it's got some menace, it's got some flyers right there. I mentioned it's got an environmental scientist like we do. Let's see, Death Touch, enters prepared. So it's got a lot of Death Touch, but it only has 2 flyers. That's probably got the least flyers of all. Here you've got legendary flyers and tons of direct damage and haste. And here, with Spellstorm, we've got damage, 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 damage. Just a ton of removal. Like 17 of these cards are basically removal cards. And then, look, they have not only flyers, but they have Storm Flyer generation. It's disgusting. What do we have? Let's break down this deck. We've got 2 Algorithmic Ferocity. It's an alchemy card. Target creature gains indestructible gets +1. For each card in your hand with mana value 4 or greater, then it fights an opponent. Ambitious Augmenter is only 1 and 1/1, but it has increment, so if it has counters on it, then you get a green and blue fractal creature token, and you put whatever counters were on the Augmenter onto the fractal. Slumbering Trudge enters with a number of stun counters on it equal to 3-X. So if you have 4 lands and you make the X3, then it'll enter as a regular 6/6 without being tapped. Variable Solutions, you almost always want to hold on to this until you get X to equal 4 or more. You can get a basic land, make the opponent sacrifice an artifact of their choice, get a random creature, and gain 2 life. If you do only 3, so a total of 4, because you need to pay 1 green, if you only have X be 3, you can only do 1 of those first 3, and it would be the random creature. Or you would do less if you wanted to get rid of their artifact or you needed a land. So in order to do all of them, you need the X to be 4. We have 3 environmental scientists to go get us basic lands. These things are virtually irrelevant because either we're getting land starved and they never show up, or we've got so many lands in our deck that the game's going to be over before we can put down our next 3 lands anyway, and this is just getting us nothing. But it was the only creature we drew, so we had to use it. And it's only a 2/2, and it dies to every piece of removal that everybody has. Geometer's Arthropod, a fractal crab, 1/4. Whenever you cast a spell with X in the mana cost, look at the top X cards of your library, put 1 of them in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Potentially a good card, but mostly getting me lands. The Scalar Scholar, as we saw, is 2/2 with increment. When the creature enters, each card with X perpetually gains. The spell costs 1 less to cast, so it's an alchemy card because it uses the perpetual mechanic. Mathemagics, sorcery, player draws 2 to the X power cards, and just in case you were bad with algebra, it goes ahead and tells you what the first 5 powers are, and it lists them in case you were that bad at math. Thanks, Wizards of the Coast. Don't make us try and think at all. Expansive reapplication, X can't be 0. You counter target spell, conjure a random creature card with mana value X onto the battlefield. That's kind of a cool card, but usually you can't afford to wait and do nothing and just hold on to that and hope that they're going to do something. Mind into Matter is an X card. Draw X cards, and you may put a permanent card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. What are the types of things we can get if X equals 2? We can get a Scalar Scholar, whoop-de-doo. We can get an Arthropod, whoop-de-doo. We can get an Environmental Scientist. None of these are really sexy cards. If it's a 1, if X is a 1, we can get the Ambitious Augmenter or a tapped Slumbering Trudge with 3 stun counters on it. In order to do more, all that we have that's more, that's a permanent. Okay, you may put a permanent with X value or less. If we do manage to get 3, we get a pensive professor who comes in as a 0-2. Anina is a 1-3. Or if we do manage to make X5, we could get Emeritus down, possibly. So 4 copies of this card in our deck. That is overkill. Shouldn't have done it. It's bad design. That's what I'm saying. It's put together poorly. Ornate Limitations. This is a mythic rare X card in Alchemy. For each number between 1 and X, conjure a random creature card with that mana value onto the battlefield. X can't be 0. I have been playing this deck for 2 days in a row. I've never drawn this card. Not once. Interdisciplinary Studies. Seek a multicolored card and learn. I think we do have 2 cards in the sideboard that we can get, which are kind of interesting. We got the Germination Practicum, which is from regular Strixhaven. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature control, and that's Paradigm, so it happens every turn. And Echo Casting Symposium, it's also Paradigm. Target player creates a token that's a copy of target creature you control. We have 1 card in the entire deck that can get us at these 2 cards. I've had a chance to do it once in 2 days. Pensive Professor, Human Wizard, 0-2 increment. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on this creature, you draw a card. Could give you some card draw. Anina, Natural Perilous. This is an Alchemy card. Legendary Human Wizard, 1-3. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, conjure a random creature card with mana value X onto the battlefield. You can tap her for a green and a blue. Spend it only to cast spells with X in their mana cost. If she ever survived more than 1 turn, it might be handy. I'm always facing the red and blue Spellstorm deck that has a dozen removal cards, so never lasted more than 1 turn in the last 2 days. Apply Geometry. This is the card we get more than any other card in the deck. Create a token that's a copy of target non-aura permanent you control, except as a 0-0 fractal creature. In addition to its other types, you put 6 +1/+1 counters on it. It doesn't help if it's a tapped Slumbering Trudge, because you just create a tapped creature with 3 stun counters on it if you create a copy. So 2 of our creatures, it's really not a good idea to use it on. Everybody else has toughness 1, 2, or 3, and they die to removal, and we never get to use this. Sing along if this is starting to sound familiar. We have 1 5-drop, Emeritus of Ideation, the card everybody's been freaking out about, because if it gets prepared, it enters prepared, it has Ancestral Recall. By the time I got this card, I had so many cards in my hand. Playing Ancestral Recall would not have helped. And my board state was so terrible that I just lost the next turn anyway. Anyway, whenever this creature attacks, you may exile 8 cards from your graveyard, and if you do, it becomes prepared again. That's the deck. It's interesting because I love X spells. They did put a lot of X spells in here, right? But the mix is terrible. There's just way too many Applied Geometries in here. There's way too many Mind into Matter cards in here. And what we end up with is a 2.1 average cost deck. Only 17 creatures. 16 sorceries. It is semi-useless. And yet it is still the most interesting deck out of the 5. For its potential. For the other cards that if we could get to them, if they could survive, that we could use them together, could do great things. But here's what's happened in Magic the Gathering over the last 10 years. Commander's taken over as the focus. Universes Beyond have been not only gone wild, but also been put into standard with the rest of our cards. They've changed the way that they do the booster packs. Almost every change that's been done gets rid of more expensive cards. At Wizards of the Coast, when they go to design and expansion, they have a skeleton framework structure. It's think of it almost like a blueprint, and they've got a certain number of cards that they need for each color. They need a certain number of lands, they need a certain number of artifacts, so on and so forth. They fill in that skeleton with 70 to 80% basically reprints or retreads, familiar cards, and then that little percentage they put in some new stuff that they want to entice you with. Actually, I think, let's see, Yeah, the arthropod. They don't have red down yet, so maybe we live? Maybe we live for a turn or two. We could actually use this if we get to an X spell at some point. We do have a counter spell that we might be able to use someday. They already got their red. Arthropod actually has the greatest odds of surviving into the second turn out of every card we have. Okay, they use Traumatic Critique for 0 just to draw some extra cards to dig for what they need. This is the deck I've been facing like 99.8% of the time the last 2 days of this Midweek Magic. We just have to wait for them to figure out which card they're getting rid of. Most of my other opponents have not taken this long to figure out, oh yes, let's discard a land. Alright, we're not going to wait, we're going to do Scalar Scholar. Get all our X cards down. So we have those two. If they put out a creature, we might be able to kill it. We need one more land to make a copy. Odds are they're going to kill the Scholar. I'm not editing this. We just hit play and re-record. I am way too time-starved to be able to edit stuff. I gotta go to work tomorrow. They're digging to start with. They chose their best card out of the 3. Full hand. I mean, they've got to draw and dig. Yeah, I was gonna say, they should have one of the 12 removal cards at this point. Alright. We have Applied Geometry. This is already the best opening deal I have gotten in 2 days. And what I think is happening is there's a team of Wizards employees that monitors my play. I'm not sure how many of you knew this. If you're new to the channel, you should know. There's a team, there's at least 3 people in the room at all times. They monitor my play, and they either make sure I lose, or they make a liar out of me. So I started the video by basically telling you I've done nothing but lose. I've only had 1 victory with this deck in 2 days. And they're playing a card that doesn't really do anything for a turn. And we're going to kill it because we were able to do Scalar Scholar, so our X spells are 1 cheaper, which means we can pay the 4, and the 4 will be the X. So we get full benefit from this, and we get to choose 2 cards that come in. This is awesome. We'll choose that one, and Ornate Imitations, the card I have never drawn in all the time I've been playing this. This is incredible. I should record all my games. Could I? Oh, then now the game's freezing up. Don't crash on me the one time I get this card. Okay, the X1 seeks the basic card and puts it into our... I shouldn't even attack. I want to use the Ornate Imitations. This is 1 cheaper, so the X can be 4 right now. We already got the random creature, because X was 4, so it summoned a random 4. We're not going to just pay the landfall cost. We're going to do something else. They go digging some more. They lost the one thing that they managed to put on the board. They've already dug... I think I've managed to dig through my deck about as much as they have. How many cards do they have in this deck? 74, something like that. We wait. Anyway, I was talking about the design skeleton. They have a number of creatures, right? They have every card type they have is in the skeleton. They need to make enough of each to fill out the set. So you've got to have a 1-drop for the red creatures. You got to have 2-drop red creatures. You got to have 3-drop red creatures, and so on and so forth. There are a ton of designers that have interesting creative ideas for Magic the Gathering. There are multiple design teams. There are more designers than ever before. And they are making a whole bunch of decks. And they're designing a whole bunch of stuff. And guess what? It's all being left on the cutting room floor for all the bigger spells. Because there's no room for it in the design skeleton. Because Wizards can't get around having all their 1-drops. Which creates an imbalance in the game. And it makes it hard for us to do the more interesting stuff. But, as I said, Wizards has a team of experts that make sure that I look like a liar. So this is going to be great. We're going to do Ornate Imitations. 2, 4, 6. So I can do 5? I don't think I can do 6, right? Okay, yeah, it's got to be 5. We get to look and fill our hand. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? We don't have Pencil Professor yet. And land. We'll take that. Look at all that stuff. We got a Blood Token 2. We mill some cards and gain some life. We lost our Mythic Rare Emeritus of Ideation. We don't get to play with Ancestral Recall. They're down to 1 life point. What does this do? Saddle 1. Okay, we have an army of 8 creatures. 5 of whom are just alchemical creations from making 5 out of Ornate Imitations. 1, 2, 3, 4 cost, 5 cost. They put them in order of the cost for us. This was already a pre-existing random generated creature. Ooh, lifelink too. Alright, they spent 5. They end up with 6 from the card. Play the land. They can't play Improvisation Capstone. They're missing 1 land, 1 energy. They get 4 lightning bolts into their library. And I guess we just attack. And they don't wait for it. Wasn't that just an awesome? I mean, this should be our favorite deck, right? That was great. We're going to keep going. Hadn't happened in 2 days, folks. Now we're going up against Andy Cool the Brilliant. Ooh, we get to go first. That comes in tapped unless we control 2 or more other lands. That was going to take too long. Forced or an island. So everything's coming in tapped basically, no matter what. Just lots of specialty lands, but it makes for a lot of tap stuff. They get a creature already, and it's a flyer. Let's see. We can bring down Environmental Scientist, right? So this can be tapped now, and then we can still bring this in. I think we mostly need forests, so we will drain all the forests out. Notice we're facing the Storm deck again, blue and red. We got Ornate Imitations 2 games in a row. This is what happens whenever I say things out loud about Wizards, about the cards I'm getting. If I didn't get a card, I say I didn't get this card, and then Wizards deals it to me in my opening hand. Unbelievable. Okay, X spells go 1 less. These things grow, so it doesn't make sense for them to trade off in the early stages. They have enough other kind of removal cards that they shouldn't be trading their creatures. They want to increase get +1/+1s on all these creatures. Now, I guess my big hope is that they put down their artifact, because then we could kill it with variable solutions. They put down an artifact! Another alchemy card. They can make spells cost 2 extra more, 1 blue and 1 red, but they get to copy the spell. So you can keep adding that to the exact same instant or sorcery. See, here we go. There comes the removal. They pump up the creatures, 6 points in the air. Okay, they are tapped out, right? So I think we need to get rid of one of those. And we can still do 4 for this, right? Draw the card for land for the X equals 1. X equals 2, they sacrifice an artifact. X equals 3, we get a random generated creature. And for 4, we gain 2 life. We ended up with the Notion Thief. If an opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw, instead their player skips that draw and you draw a card. Oh, they're going to kill that. They need their card draw. I've never played with this card before. We got the other play style that they gave us to play with as well. I usually prefer to view the simplified when I'm reading. It's just kind of your choice on what do you like for the color pattern. This is amazing. Almost all the time they've got like 3 or 4 removal cards. What do I do here? Is this legendary? No, it's not. Wow. I have like an embarrassment of riches here. We created 6/6, and we can make the X equal 3 here. And that comes in with no stun counters. And then we attack. And even if they get rid of that, they still can't use their card draw. I don't think they can kill us over the air in one more turn. They don't have enough to play the kicker cost. Do they for 5? No, it's 4. Oh, okay, they didn't have it. Because they could have done 4 to our face and that would have pumped them up. They're already at 7 as it is. They're probably going to hit me in the face and then scoop. Show me how close they were to killing me, but not actually do it. They really only need 2 more instants or sorceries out of 3 mana. A lot of these are 2-drops, though. Do they have a scry? Okay, so they... Oh, that was kind of... Thank you, Andy. You didn't come hit me in the face first before he could have. I just won 2 in a row. I'm recording everything and putting it up for you guys from now on. This is going to be an early... I usually wait. I usually post things on Friday. If I can. Wonder if I can put this up Thursday. I do this every now and then where I record something earlier, but I usually schedule them for Friday morning release. Just to have kind of a constant production schedule for my regular subscribers. If you're not a regular subscriber, consider hitting that subscribe button and seeing what I come up with next. Again, nothing but tapped. Am I willing to pay the 2 life just to get something going? Don't need to. We come down here and go get another land now. We've got enough of the dual lands that we still keep our green bias. And we don't have any X spells yet. I guess the 1/4 because it's hardier. And then we use the algorithmic frenzy here and kill their creature. Life is good. First blood is mine. And I'm getting a really nice order of delivery of cards. Although here they can get into their sideboard now. They already went for Improvisation Capstone. Let's see. Yeah, let's do this. We can do Scalar Scholar, get the X card discount, and then get another Arthropod down. And look at that, I've got an army already on turn 4. They have nothing. They're going to hit their land drop, though. Not before they play an impractical joke and kill one of my creatures. This is nice. This is the Alchemy card. Whenever they cast an instant or sorcery spell, it gets +1. If they cast up to 5, they can bring this out of the graveyard. Alright, we enter that tapped. Do I want to just add 6 onto something? Yeah, let's go get another land and just get it out of our deck. Got the opponent half dead. Got a nice 6/6 on the field. Nice little fractal. Oh, they brought back the Phoenix of Iteration. It's 6/5 flyer, but it is tapped. That's 2 Summit Fest closing ceremonies in a row. Now they still have 9 energy and 7 cards. And there comes the card they got from their Learn spell. Impractical Joke. Just kill the scientist. That was a good turn, wasn't it? Any number of spells. And they've got an 11 there. Oh, that was really good for them, wasn't it? 2, 3, 4. So I don't have enough to do everything. And it might be dead soon. 3. I guess we should do this. Attack with everything is really all we can do. And do they chump block? This is the other thing they've started doing lately, is whenever I start to win, the game freezes and we have to wait for it to come back. We were going just swimmingly all through my opponent's turn when they got an 11-10 on the field. Yeah, so back when I was talking about the wizard designers, this isn't just me guessing. We've literally had interviews with designers, with them talking about their other cards that they've designed and how big they've been and how there's no room for them. Oh look, they kill me. Look how they filtered through like 30 cards of their deck. I've still got 46 in mine. That's the deck we've been going up against for the last 2 days. I guess I could say it's an interesting deck. I don't mind a lot of the decks the way they put these together. The Alchemy cards are interesting. I don't play Alchemy enough because I run out of time. If I did have more time to spend, I probably would delve into Alchemy a little bit more. The problem is with Alchemy, at least when I was playing it in the early days, they had too many infinite combos that you could get into, but they all were really slow and boring, so you had to wait for somebody to go through like 30, 40 different steps before they could get to what they needed to kill you. And it was basically watching a game of solitaire as they figured it out. There were, every now and then you'd find one person who got the combo down right and did things fast. They're not even waiting for a creature, they're just right to the face. But again, the same deck. Almost everybody's using the blue and red deck. And it's a little, it shows a little, I would say, lack of imagination. There aren't a lot of people willing to explore the other stuff. They take a look, they find what they think is the best deck, and actually he's done pretty good already because this has Storm. You can conjure a whole bunch of stuff, and I do not have a way to kill this thing. I just have a way to go get one more land. It doesn't even come onto the battlefield tapped. I have to wait to play it. This is looking more like the way things normally are. I'm facing the Spellstorm deck. I've got 3 copies of Applied Geometry in my hand. I'm not going to be able to cast one of these on turn 3. Let's see, what can I do here? Put this puppy down. And we can kill the flyer. One of the few ways we actually have to kill the flyers. It works. Alright, we equalized things a little bit. We did miss our land drop, right? So still can't do Applied Geometry yet. We could draw a card. And this is a bad deal for them because they did nothing. I'm not used to that. Okay, I guess we're drawing one card because we have nothing else that is worth doing. It does give us an increment. And we do get to put the land in. Ooh, that's 4 more points. Are we going to survive long enough to use Applied Geometry? Amazing. X spells are the greatest. I love X spells. Already using Summit Fest Closing Ceremony. They spend 5 to get 6. They increase the intensity of this. A lot of times they just like to cast it again. It also gave them a card draw. 2 more flyers? I can't get rid of them, can I? Okay, do I go for another augmenter, or... No, I feel like I just go for another scientist and go get more land. Keep the land going. Wizard's gonna make a liar out of me again? I had 3 Applied Geometries. And it looks like I have the advantage now with just one of them. Okay, another Summit Fest Closing Ceremony. They get a card draw. They pump up their elementals. I'm not sure why they exiled that. I wonder if that was an accident. It prompts you, once you spend 5 energy, it prompts you on if you want to exile it, but usually you want to exile it from the graveyard and bring it back. If it's not in the graveyard, there's usually not a reason to exile them, so I'm guessing the opponent just clicked the wrong thing. They're getting into their sideboard. They got a 6 cost, which they can afford. And they can create a token of iteration, but it's going to come in as a 2/1. If they survive long enough, that could turn the game around completely. They click to exile it and return it again. It's still going to come in tap. What happens with that? Creates a token. Did they exile their own token? I'm not sure what happened there. We can do 6 here, right? No, 5. Sorry. Just to have something to do with our cards. We've got an excavation open. We've won 3 games. Inconceivable. We're going to do one more. I'm going to be stuck telling you something that it looks like I'm disproving. A lot of these X cards are the more complicated cards. They require greater energy usually to be effective. The more you can put into them, the more effective they are, generally speaking. A lot of these never get made. More of them have a chance to get made in Alchemy. Because the Alchemy cards are, to a certain degree, they're kind of considered extra. It would have been nice if I could just kill that with the ferocity. Do they have 2 instants or just 1? Because I could still kill it next turn. This deck is so cheap. Oh, they put down a creature instead. Do I kill the one that's scalable or the one that goes wide? I think I have to kill the one that goes wide. Oh, what did I do wrong? Oh, I have nothing that's 4 or greater. I messed that up. I could have killed the Scorn Mage at least. Well, if I lose that one, this one. And it's not against a Spellstorm deck either. I was too busy talking, I didn't read the card. Reading the card explains the card. Alright, we've seen this deck in action once before. It's not too shabby. Lots of really cheap spells, 1 and 2 drops. They can do a lot of damage with only 3 or 4 lands down. They can go through their entire hand. It takes us a while to build up. We're coming in with 1/1s and 0/2s. Alchemy technically might be more fun if I could develop a sizable collection of the Alchemy cards, just because they've made those cards so that they are a little bit more interesting, more usable, I guess you'd call it. I don't know if usable is the right terminology. Alright, we're pumping up our creatures, but is it too late? They can already cast 2 different instants or sorceries and make this a 5/5. We can't kill it with what we've got. I should have targeted it with the ferocity. So that's my mistake. They use the flashback. Already making it a 5/5. And I may have to chump block because they may just tap something. That's fine. They get flyers with this. I of course don't have a flyer. But nothing's an artifact either. I don't know why they tapped that one. Just because there's no need to zap the 0/2. Yeah, let's jump block. We get a 1/1. Alright, we'll go ahead and play the 4. The X equals 2 won't do much, but we'll get increment out of 2 creatures. And we get a card. Oh, it's just more land. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 spells basically, and 8 lands. That seems fair. This is more like how most of my battles have gone. Did get a bristling boar out of it, though. If they do feel like attacking, I'm probably going to have to block with everything I've got. Just on the one creature. They're not going to risk it. So I can't really attack because I can't attack into... Oh, they are going to bring the 6/6. Okay. Okay. Is this going to be enough? I want to try and save the Pensive Professor if I can. Can at least be a blocker against the other three. Let it die. Okay, we lost our created creature. Apply geometry? No way. Increment. Draw a card. It's another land. Alright, I mean, I guess we could go ahead and start attacking. They might have removal for this, but we still got a chump blocker for some of the others. Head of the class, Alchemy card, Kithkin Cleric. First thing targeting a creature is 2 mana cheaper. I'm just going to try and kill this over our heads. We'll do the Scalar Scholar. We put that down first so we can do this. And I guess we're doing Pensive Professor again? Does that let us draw the card? 2 cards. Yeah, no problem with putting that down. And let's put these into work. We're dying soon, so we need to put some counter pressure on. Jump block? I wonder what these cards are. They don't seem to have a combat trick. They didn't draw good cards. We won 4 again. And it wasn't the Spellstorm deck. Wizards. Okay. You know, normally I say this. Hang on a second. Let's see what we got. We got Shroud Stomper. Oh, that's cool. I wonder if I think I have 4 of those now. Normally what happens is I lose 4 in a row, and I tell the Wizard Spies that they can go on their coffee break now and not rig the deck so that I can win. Instead, because I've been saying how lousy my experience has been with this deck for 2 days in a row, how I've only won once in 2 days, we just won 4 games in one sitting with a deck that has performed horribly up to this date. So, you know, I think maybe I just need to use this reverse psychology with the Wizard Spies so that I can constantly win games. And I'll just come in and talk about how horrible my decks are and how badly I've been losing. And maybe I can increase my winning percentage. I'll finally get back to 50%, right? Maybe I can finally get to 50-50. I'm kind of sorry we ran out of time. I wasn't able to actually... A lot of times what I like to do is a speed run and show off each of the decks and how they perform. But this was just overwhelmingly... Like, almost everything was against Spellstorm. This is the only thing people wanted to play with. You notice we didn't really get to experience Never Dead for long. It's kind of makes for a lackluster event when everybody just overwhelmingly goes into one. I can practically guarantee you, I'm like the only person left playing X marks the spot. Somebody might experiment with this once or twice, and then they're going to just move on to one of the other decks. For me, I took a look at the cards. I saw the potential. I didn't like the distribution. I didn't like the way that they made the deck, but there's potential here. There's some interesting designed cards here, and I wanted to just give it a chance and see what it could do. And actually, it finally happened today with you as I'm recording live, and that's just awesome. So, as always, like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you like. Do you agree with me about the state of Magic, that we don't have enough high-powered cards, enough more expensive, more interesting cards that we can do more with, because they've concentrated so much on always filling in that lower 1, 2, 3 drop mana curve And they won't possibly ever skip like a 1-drop creature for red for an expansion set, even though we have more expansion sets than ever. And you could probably have red go 1 or 2 sets without getting yet another interesting red 1-drop creature. But they're just not going to do that. And that means that when somebody designs an interesting 8-cost card, there's possibly no room for it in the set, and we just never get to see it. And so I think there's a lot of creative potential that is going unexplored in this game because of the way all the choices that they made over the last 10 years have steered us into this particular funnel, and they don't seem to be able to figure out how to turn the Titanic at any point, right? It's just turned into this lumbering behemoth with this momentum in this direction that everybody seems powerless to halt. And a lot of it gets blamed on just the Hasbro corporate overlords and their greed for money and that kind of thing. And there certainly is an aspect to that as well. But if you disagree with me, I am open to having my mind changed. Please try not to call me 4-letter words. But go ahead and leave a comment if you want to debate it a little bit. And I'll have something different for you next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.